I'm going to show you how to create that epic Thor jump in CapCut using nothing more than your phone. First, you want to set your camera to record in slow motion on an iPhone. You simply click and slide over here on the bottom and you go over to slow-mo. 60 or 120 frames a second is probably going to work best. If you're not set to that, you look here in the top right and click on it, and there I'm in 120 frames a second. If it doesn't go to 120 or 60, you can go to your settings and modify it further. Next, you want to put your camera on a tripod or lean it against something and face it towards the building you're going to jump over. Angle it so there's a lot of sky and you can see your entire body. Then jump away from the camera towards the building. Next, walk out of the frame and keep recording, filming a few seconds of just the building. Next, set up your camera similarly on the other side of the building, but this time jump away from the building towards the camera and again, record a few seconds of the building without you in the frame. Next, let's open up CapCut and create a new project. Then select the videos we want to import. I'm going to click on Recents and choose the folder I created with my videos in them called Thor. You want to select the videos in the order you want them to appear in your video. That way there is less work to do in CapCut. This one is the first one, this one is the second one. I'll go ahead and import those. Next, we just trim the clips we're going to use. Right about here looks cool. So I just click on it, hit split, and delete it. Then I want to choose the end. And probably right before I land, I'm going to be in the air over the building when we're done with all this. But for now, we're just going to hit split and delete the excess. We'll do the same thing for the next clip where I'm landing. So let's get me, as soon as I'm in the air would be good. Right about there is probably usable. Click on it, hit split, click on the clip I want to get rid of, hit delete, and then we'll go until I land and look super, like exactly like Thor, like it's dead ringer, right? Maybe about there. Hit split, click on it, hit delete. And then over here I have the back plates, the backgrounds. We'll use those in a second. To make this more realistic, we want it to look like I sped up when I jumped. So there's like a burst when I jumped into the air. So I'm going to create another split right when I'm airborne. Click on the clip and hit split again. And we're going to speed it up right when I start to jump. To do that, we click on the clip. We select speed. There are a couple options, normal and curve. Normal will change the speed of this entire clip. Right now it's slow motion, 120 frames a second. But right before I start to jump, we want it to go faster. So we're going to go ahead and click on it again and hit speed and choose curve. That allows us to adjust the clip over time so it starts slow and suddenly goes poof. To do that, we're going to select custom, select edit. And now we see keyframes, or as they call them, beats. Every one of these represents a different point in time. A keyframe marks the beginning or the end of a change in a property over time, something you're going to want to wrap your brain around at some point. So right now, all these keyframes are the same, so when I play this, it's going slow, 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 slow the entire time. But to speed it up, I'm going to drag these last two keyframes up to maybe 4x. And you can see right here that that's 4x, and we'll have this one be 4x as well, so that it's going faster there. For just a brief instant, it's going to go be a little bit of an explosion. So I'm just going to click on the check mark here, click on the check mark here. As you play it, you can see right here, it speeds up just briefly and then goes back to slow motion for this second clip. Next, we want to modify the landing clip so it's slow motion and the air looks all cool, but right before I land, we want it to be a little closer to normal. So I'm going to click on this clip, hit split, and for this clip, instead of being 120 frames a second, which is 4x slow motion, we're going to make it just maybe 60 frames a second. So it's just 2x slow motion, looks a little less dramatic. To do that, I'll click on speed, and instead of selecting curve, I'm going to select normal and just go ahead and double the speed. So it went from 120 frames a second to 60 frames a second, and in a 30 frame per second video, it looked like half speed instead of quarter speed. So we'll click the check mark, and you can kind of see what that looks like when I play it super slow and a little less slow motion. So it looks kind of cool. Next, we need to cut out me from this shot so I can make myself fly over the building. And CapCut makes that super easily. I select the clip I want to modify and I just want to remove the background. To do that, I go over here to cutout, select cutout, and I just say remove background. CapCut thinks for a second, and bam, the background's cut out. Now, it doesn't do a perfect job usually, but it does a pretty good job. But they do give you a way to clean it up some. So you can see the background's gone, but you can see that, you know, there's some little trailies and things that aren't exactly perfect, and then my feet disappear here. So to fix that, you just go ahead and find about where you have some issues, click on the clip, go to cutout again, and this time select customize cutout. And that little finger is showing you that you can highlight what you want to delete or what you want to add to what is cut out. Right now we want to delete something, so we click on wipe, and we can choose how big of an area we're wiping, our brush size. With this, we're going to make it a little smaller so we have a little more control. I'm going to start to wipe down here. I just want to delete this little area under my toes, and as soon as I do that, it reveals this little thing in the corner so I can see a little more precisely what's happening. So I'm going to delete that little toe mess there, and hey, it looks a little bit better. And I'll scroll over and find anything else that needs to be fixed. Oh, look at my feet started to evaporate here. So I'm going to go ahead and choose brush and go ahead and try to completely add my feet back in by starting to scroll. I can see it there. Bam, that foot's back. And let's do it for the other foot after it finishes thinking. I'm going to click, and as soon as I drag, that box appears. Now you can do this with your finger, and it's a little harder with your finger. With the mouse, a little easier to get this precise stuff, but that looks pretty good there. And I'll do the rest. You don't have to watch me doing all of it, but you can just clean it up as much as you want just by moving your playhead and seeing if anything is missing. Like there, my feet are gone again. So brush, I'm going to go ahead and add that. If you accidentally click out and you're like, how do I get back to there? Just click on the clip again, go back to cutout, select customize cutout, and decide what you want to do. Oh, here there's extra junk under my toe. I'm going to hit wipe so I can erase it. I'll start moving my mouse or my finger, and I'll just delete that little piece there. We don't want to be jumping over black, we want to be jumping over a building, so to do that, we need to make this an overlay layer, a top layer, so we can put a building underneath it. To do that, you click on it, and you slide over to overlay. Select overlay, and bam, now we have something behind me jumping, but it's the wrong thing. To fix that, we're going to click on this clip, which is the building, the back plate, and just move it over where it needs to go. So we're going to click on it, we're going to hold, and we're going to make it the second clip in the timeline. Notice how it zoomed out so we can see everything at once. Those are all of our clips. Now we have a background. Next, we need to trim up this background so we don't have too much. Here I'm jumping and there's nothing now. So we just got to trim this up a little bit by, I'm going to just grab the phone so I can zoom in and see what's going on. Some things are much easier with your phone. I'm just going to zoom in a whole bunch so I can get right to the end of this. And I'm clicking on the background. I'm going to hit split, and I'm hitting delete, and that goes away, and now boom. Looks like it's almost gonna work, except that I am just jumping just like I was beforehand. Now we need to make me actually move. I'm gonna use my fingers for this as well because it makes it a little easier. I'm gonna go to the beginning of this clip, the very beginning. I'm gonna select it, and here, actually, let me go back to the mouse. You can see this diamond. This diamond is another keyframe. Remember, a keyframe marks the beginning or the end in a change in a property. That image of me is cut out. I want to make it get smaller, and I want to reposition it. So I'm going to change the position and the scale. This is going to be the beginning of where I do that. So I'm going to hit this keyframe, and you can see that it added keyframe there. I also want to do that at the end of the clip. So I'm going to go to the end of the clip, and I'm going to add another keyframe right here. When I select the clip, it allows me to add the keyframe, bam. At the beginning of this clip, I want it to be right there, but I want it to, over time, get smaller and farther away. So I'm only going to modify this second keyframe. And to do that, because it's highlighted, because this clip is also highlighted, all I have to do is use my fingers and pinch and just move me up into the sky more, so it looks kind of dramatic. Bam, that's all there is to it. And now it looks like I'm jumping kind of. We're gonna make it a little cooler in a second, but right now we can see that's, hey, I'm jumping over the building already, right? Not bad. We want it to feel a little more natural, so we're gonna go to this first keyframe, and when we're positioned on the keyframe exactly, we can see this little graph icon when we're in the dead center of this keyframe. This graph right here allows me to smooth out how this scale and the position start to change over time. So I'm going to click on the graph, and I'm going to choose just maybe ease out. So over time it eases out, it looks a little more natural. Click on this guy, back up and see what it looks like. So that's not bad. It looks like I accelerate and then I'm going off into the distance over time. So it looks pretty good, right? Next, we have to do the same thing for this clip. When I'm landing, we're going to first click on it. We're going to go ahead and scroll over to Cutout. We're going to hit Remove Background, and it's going to do its best to remove the background. Looks pretty good. We're going to have the same issues. I'll clean it up the same way. You don't have to watch, but I'll go ahead and clean it up the same way. If you ever click in the wrong spot and you get confused, like, oh no, how do I keep cutting it out? Just go ahead and make sure you're clicked on the clip. Go back down to the bottom here and just choose Cutout again. Choose Customize Cutout and choose the tool you want to use. I need to add my foot back in here, so I have the brush highlighted. I'm just going to start clicking and dragging again. So we've got me jumping. We see the background's cut out. Now I need to put the background here. To do that, I need to make this an overlay. So it's a top layer again. This is just repeating what we did the first time, but in case you're confused, this may help. We're just going to slide over here to Overlay. And we already have this highlighted. I click Overlay, and bam, now it's overlaid, but I've got the wrong background. Oh no, what do? The same thing we did last time. Here is the background at the end of our timeline. I'm going to click on this background and just slide it over so that is the third item in this sequence. And now look, I'm on a background again, but I'm too big, so we need to scale me just like we did last time. So we're going to go to the beginning of this clip. This is me down here. Let's go to the beginning, and we're going to click on it. And that makes this appear, so I can add a keyframe to the beginning. I'm going to go to the end, and I'm clicking out so I can see where the end is. Those handles make it hard to see the end. So I'm going to go on the last frame there, click on it, select another keyframe. This keyframe we want to leave. This is where we want to end up. So we're just going to modify that first keyframe. Because this is highlighted, I'm able to scale just me, not the background. It scales what is selected. So I'm just going to pinch and make me smaller, and throw me up here. Doesn't look too bad. Let's see what it looks like when we play it. I didn't love that it was like the same speed over time. We don't want it to be exactly the same speed. You want it to kind of ramp in or ramp out. So we're going to just kind of tweak this last keyframe to see if we can make it feel a little more natural. We're highlighted on it. We're going to click on that graph again. And we're going to choose ease in 1 and see if that makes it feel a little better. I thought that looked pretty good. You can mess with these to your taste to make it look a little more natural, but I think this is pretty great for where we are. I'm going to hit the check mark, and you can see that we ran out of me, and we just hit background, so we just need to trim this background off. Let's get to that last frame, select it, hit split, make sure it's highlighted, hit delete. We can watch this whole thing now. It's not going to be bad, but we're going to make it a lot better. So let's go ahead and play it. Boom, I jump into the air, come up the other side, bam, I land. To make this better, we're going to add some lightning and some sound effects real quick. I'm going to go ahead and position the playhead where I want the sound effects to start, with there to be like a crack when I take off and some lightning. So I'm going to go right about here, hit this back arrow, go to Audio, select Effects, and we're going to type in bullet, and let's see what we like. I think that sounded pretty good. I'm going to hit plus. And let's see if we like that. That sounds pretty great. Now let's add some thunder or lightning sound effects. Bam, I am identical to Thor, I'm feeling like right here. So all we really need now are a couple little more special effects. Just going to the back arrow, we're going to choose Effects, and we're going to go to Body Effects. And there's a pro effect here called Lightning Vortex, which looks pretty cool. I'm going to show you how to use this effect even if you don't have Pro. I don't have Pro right now. We're just going to use it anyway. I'm going to click on Pro and hit the check mark. And we want it to start like right when we're jumping. So I'm just going to click it and drag it over so it's about where the sound effects start. That looks pretty good, right? And then we'll kill it about there. So we're just going to click it and drag it back with our fingers like that. And bam, we're in the sky. Kind of be cool to have another effect right here when I'm coming through here. So I'm just going to go ahead and duplicate this by clicking on it. I guess I should use my mouse again so you can see what's going on. I'm going to click on it, then I'm going to hit copy, and we're just going to put it over here. And then we want it one more time right here. So it looks cool when I'm landing. We're going to add one more effect, then I'm going to show you how to export this video with Pro Effects without having to pay for the Pro version. We're going to go ahead and click on Effects and Video Effects, and we're going to type the word vibration. We want to use vibration flash. We're going to click on vibration flash, hit cancel, hit the check mark, and we can see where the vibration flash is. And that, look how that shakes me like I'm flying out of there. So we're just gonna shorten it to about there. And now we have this cool effect right here. Now to export all of this, we'd hit the export thing, but it's gonna tell us we can't. You gotta get CapCut Pro and pay for it. To export this without having the Pro version, you just screen record your screen. On an iPhone, you swipe down from the top right, and here is my screen recorder. You can add it in settings if you don't have it. I'm already recording this screen. After starting the recording, you want to go to the beginning of your timeline and hit this icon, let me show you with my mouse, in the bottom left so it goes full screen. I'm already screen recording, so I'm gonna hit play. Then you just stop the screen recording, bring that back into CapCut and trim it up so you can get rid of any excess edges that you saw that you don't want. If you're not sure how to do that or any of this was confusing for you, I've made a CapCut 101 tutorial that you need to watch right here, right now. Also, this is our new dog, Gigi. If you want to see Gigi, come here, baby. Come on, Gigi, come on, come on, come on, come on. She's being so good, we're teaching her not to jump. This is Gigi, we just got her from the shelter. Mwah!